Did you know that there are things even more important to men than sex? It's kind of strange because men spend so much time talking about sex and so much energy trying to get it from you. What could possibly be more important to them than that? What if I told you not only do men enjoy these certain things even more than sex, but they also mean more to men than good sex ever could? Join me on today's show where we'll be discussing what men secretly desire from you even more than sex. That way, you can impact a man's life in a way he has never ever felt before. Point number one is about safety. I'm gonna give you two examples. I'm gonna start off by asking you this question. Which of these scenarios would be more comfortable for you? First scenario, you are talking to your best friend about your childhood traumas in a room full of people that you've never met before, and you have a microphone in your hand and your best friend has a microphone in her hand, and you're sharing on this microphone all of your childhood traumas, but you're obviously talking directly to your best friend. That is scenario number one. Or scenario number two, in which you and your best friend are in a quiet room, secluded from everyone. The room is soundproof and some nice ambient music is playing in the background and the lights are dim. And if you're into wine, maybe you guys have a wine glass in your hand. Which of these two scenarios would you feel more comfortable sharing your childhood traumas? Obviously, a lot of you are going with scenario number two, but explain to me, what is it about the environment of scenario number one that makes you feel like, that's not the one that I want to choose? I want you all to see a prime example for yourself of how important environment is to feeling emotionally safe. The difference between an emotionally safe environment and what you would consider an emotionally unsafe environment will drastically change the amount you're willing or unwilling to share about yourself. Now, let's copy and paste that same ideology and concept to men. And you might not realize it because men don't discuss it a lot, but they have a very deep desire to feel emotionally safe with you. Part of your superpower as a woman is to be able to create spaces for people, especially emotional spaces for the men that you're dating. You might not realize that because you don't know how much of a superpower you have in that area. Men aren't equipped to be able to do that as well as you can. When it comes to emotional safety, it's one of the things men crave, but often find it very difficult to ask for and very difficult to explain when they're either feeling it or they're not feeling it, because they don't even realize for themselves how important this is for them to have in a relationship. You want to know how I know that? Not just from my own experience. So because I used to be a club promoter, I met a lot of people that work in nightlife. In the process of that, I talked to a lot of strippers and sex workers. I like having conversations with everyone, asking lots of questions. One of the most interesting answers that I got from strippers and sex workers: what do these men actually pay for most of the time when they're coming to pay you for sex or a dance or your time in general? The number one thing majority of all of those sex workers and strippers said is they're paying me just to talk about their feelings, just to sit down and talk about their relationship, to talk about their marriage, to talk about things that they don't feel comfortable telling their wife about. Why are majority of men going to strip clubs and then just sitting down to conversate with those strippers? Because they feel, for whatever reason, in their marriage, it's not an emotionally safe place to be themselves, to talk about their feelings, to talk about their desires, whatever the case may be. And because it's so far in this territory, in the example number one, and so far away from this territory in the quiet room example number two, they feel like the only place they can go to feel emotionally safe that would still be macho and masculine is to go to a strip club and have that discussion with the stripper. The reason I'm saying that is because I want you to see how important and vital it is for men to have and feel an emotionally safe environment in their relationship, especially with you, that they can be honest about what they feel, what they want, what they desire, what they think, what their perspective is, and how much you can do a job of helping them feel that. That way they can actually be honest about who they are and they're not going over to the strip club to have conversations with the strippers. Point number two is about appreciation. I want you to never forget how important appreciation is for men. In fact, I almost want to do something for you. in helping you understand how important appreciation is for men by doing something else in the opposite sense. So this is kind of going to be a little bit confusing. The reason I'm drawing this like this is for a very specific reason. You probably enjoy compliments from your guy. Do you like it when your man tells you that you're looking beautiful today, that you're looking sexy today, how much he wants you, how much he desires you? Do you love the feeling that that gives you? And what do you want to do for him when you hear him talk to you like that? I'm talking about those nice, those descriptive compliments where he really means it. I'm not talking about the wishy-washy compliments where he's barely even looking at you. You can feel the eye contact, you can feel his desire, you can feel the intensity. You're like, damn, he really wants me. Compliments are important to you to receive from your man. And what does that subsequently usually do for you, right? It increases your confidence within yourself. It validates you. So you then feel like, now that I know you see how good I look, now that I feel your desire, I feel more motivated and inspired to look good for you. So the compliment leads into an action here. Men are the exact same as you, but their trigger is just appreciation instead of the compliment. They then take action for you in the relationship because of the way that you appreciate them. So for them, it's the exact same thing. And it's a loop. It doesn't have to be, and I know I put appreciation and compliment at the top, but it doesn't have to be a which one comes first. Do I appreciate him without taking action? No, not necessarily. You have to understand it's a loop. They are equal to each other and they need each other to exist. You're going to get a lot of confidence and motivation to look good when your man compliments you. Subsequently, as your man takes action for you and you make sure to appreciate him for the actions that he's taking for you, no matter how big or small, he then feels like I need to take more action for her because every time I do take action for her, it is recognized, okay? Men understand that language. They understand how to make those connections. And it's such an important part of them feeling good about you and their relationship with you, the same way compliments are important to you. So how do you really appreciate a man? See, this is the mistake that you might end up making. You might think to yourself, well, I should just only be appreciating him when he does something major and insane. When he gets me 1,000 roses and then he buys me a dinner at Nobu and then he gets me a hotel at the Ritz-Carlton, that's when I should show him some appreciation. No. Actually, what I want you to get into the habit of is understanding how to show men that you're in a romantic relationship with appreciation for even the small things, even the things that you would consider, oh, well, that's the bare minimum. Oh, that's the stuff that, any man should be doing at any point for their woman. Well, yes, but you also have to understand the appreciation still feels good. The same way, even when you're getting dressed just to look good to maybe go out for a bite to eat, even if you're not trying to look your absolute positively mega best by wearing your best dress and wearing the amazing heels and do the whole 10, it still feels good to get a compliment by your man, doesn't it? The same way, even when men aren't necessarily going all out in terms of doing the most crazy thing that you can make a TikTok video about and everyone will be like, damn, you got that, man? Even if he's doing what you might consider the bare minimum, the appreciation still feels good to that man, even if it's small, and even if it's coming for an action that isn't necessarily the biggest thing in the world. Point number 3 is acceptance. You have to realize how good it feels to actually feel understood as a human being, but especially as a man. Have you ever been with an old couple that they'll talk like this? Let's say you're having a discussion with them about their relationship. And the grandma, the older woman, will say, yeah, you know what? This man, you better not even bother. He is one of the most stubborn men you'll ever meet. And they're laughing about it. He's hard-headed. You see, she'll knock on his head. You see that in there? Yeah, you're not getting through to there no matter what you say. You better make sure he gets his naps because this man, he gets real cranky, real fast, real easy. Don't wake him up from his nap early. You better make sure he gets it. And if he doesn't, you better not ask him anything. See, these old couples will talk about each other like this, almost in a way where you feel like, is that kind of a diss? Like you're speaking towards a negative quality that person has. However, even as they're both speaking towards a negative quality that the other person might have, it doesn't seem like they're really bothered by that negative quality. It seems more like they've just accepted that that is the quality that they have, and they figure out how to work with it, or they've already figured out how to work with it and understood that person for being that person. See, this is an amazing feeling, especially for men, because we spend a lot of time, happy wife, happy life. So when we get into relationships, we're always thinking about how to make our wife more happy. But a lot of times you can get into a relationship with a man and your mind is always fixated on how he can change to be better than he is, or how he can adjust to be someone different. And sometimes you can get into a relationship with a guy, and even as he's doing well, you can't really find it easy to focus on all the things he's doing well. You find it a lot easier to focus on any small thing he might be doing wrong. But this is a problem. See, a lot of times then guys get into a relationship and then they feel like the woman that they're with doesn't accept them for who they are. And they might feel a little bit of inadequacy in the relationship, where they feel like no matter what they try, no matter what they attempt, no matter what they say or what they do, you're never happy with them. This is one of the things that men desire, that even in their flaws, they are still accepted for who they are. Now, there's a limit to that. I'm not saying accept a man who treats you like garbage, who cheats on you, who goes behind your back, who lies to you, just accept him for who he is. But what I am saying is that when you're in a relationship with someone and you understand that in certain ways they are flawed, but it doesn't make them a bad person and it doesn't make them incapable of being in a good romantic relationship with you, your acceptance and your understanding of those, what you would consider character flaws, is such an important part to making that man feel like you are accepting him in the relationship and accepting him for who he is, that he doesn't have to constantly change who he is to be around and with you. You don't want to put your relationship or make your relationship feel like an environment where the man steps into it and he feels like everything he says, does, has to be changed or adjusted to fit your needs, to the point where he feels like he can't be his authentic self, that he has to put on a front to be in this relationship, because then at a certain point he'll get so exhausted putting on that front that he'll go and look for other environments that he can feel more safe in and more accepted in to then be himself. And if that environment isn't you, then we have a major problem on our hands. Point number 4 is about belief. Now, what is the belief I'm referring to? I'm talking about your belief in him. This is something really, really easy to slip up on. And I'm going to give you an example of that. Let's say you and a man having dinner together and you're cooking dinner together. That's your plan for the night. Now, obviously, in order for you guys to cook dinner, there has to be a prep stage, a cooking stage, and a coordinating stage, a chopping stage. So you put him on vegetable chopping duty. You're going to be cooking the food because you're a master chef. He is not chopping up the vegetables the way that you want him to. You wanted the onions and you wanted the celery and you wanted the tomatoes chopped up in a very fine and specific way. And as he's chopping up these vegetables, you're looking at the way he's chopping them up and you're like, oh my God, this is not what I wanted. He's not chopping these vegetables correctly. I'm really getting upset because this dish is not going to turn out how I want it to turn out. The way that he's chopping those vegetables, it's so gross and he's messing this up. My whole dinner is going to be messed up. And so what do? You say, step aside, useless man. And then you go and you say, yeah, it was your job to chop the vegetables, but you're such a useless man. Useless. I'm gonna chop the vegetables. Just stand there and do nothing like you always do while I do all the work. And so you chop the vegetables and you dice them up how they're supposed to be diced up. You put them into the pot and you organize everything, and essentially you cook the entire dinner. We have a problem on our hands because you've just communicated something to your man that's very dangerous, especially as it happens over the course of time. Because men have a deep desire to feel that you have a belief in his ability to do things correctly. Obviously, not any human is going to be absolutely perfect. So there will of course be things that you can do better than him. A situation like this, even though it feels innocent and unassuming to you, is very emasculating for a man, because he feels like, well, you just came and did my job, which essentially is communicating you can't do this correctly. And I don't even have trust or belief in your ability to do this correctly that I would even continue to allowing you to do this job. What ends up happening here in these scenarios is a situation like this doesn't just happen one time. It happens multiple times over the course of a relationship. And as he sees that you're communicating you don't have a belief in his abilities, he stops even trying because he's already of the mentality that you don't even believe in his ability to do it correctly anyways. So why even bother putting towards the effort? Then you get a man who over the course of time is putting towards the relationship in every aspect less and less and less effort. And where does it stem from? It stems from his belief that you don't believe in his ability to do things correctly. And even if it might start with just the chopping of the vegetables, eventually it kind of broadens and widens out to other aspects of your relationship with him and other aspects of your non-belief in his ability to do things correctly. Men want to feel like you believe in their abilities. In this scenario, what is the right way to do it? If I really feel like he's not chopping the vegetables properly and I need them done a different way. You have two options here. One, you can just ignore it and realize that it's not the end of the world if he chops the vegetables up a different way than you intended. You can still enjoy the dinner. Number two, if you really want them chopped up a specific way, you can practice actually teaching him how to chop the vegetables better in a way that makes sense to him, that he can understand how to do the job better or why you need this job done a different way. Being patient enough to teach someone how to do something so they understand how to do it correctly can be such a great lesson for both of you. Because then when you show him, okay, so actually you're doing a great job cutting the board and things like that, but I know that you're usually cutting them a little bit bigger and choppier. Is it the knife or is it like, you're just not used to being able to handle that? So here's a technique that I usually use and how I think of how to chop it. So you start from here and then you hold the onion here. And then if you cut this part first and then you go like this, it's a lot easier to get it real fine. And then he's going to try it. And then you'll be like, oh yeah, you try it like this and hold it like that. Yeah, that's way better. And now you have a situation where you've shown him how to do it. He gets to still feel like I did the thing right and you're happy and I'm happy and you're able to believe that I can do it. But he also doesn't feel like you took over his job and just said to yourself, you're useless, get out of here. Because that's the easy way to go about things when you're upset or when you're in a mode where you just want to get it done. Showing him how to do it and then letting him mess up a little bit, even if he doesn't do it absolutely perfect, is much better for your relationship in order to get to the place that you want to be in, which is him believing that you have belief in him and his abilities. Point number 5 is about respect. Now I'm talking about a very particular aspect of respect in relationships, and I'm going to give you an example so you understand the aspect I'm discussing. Let's imagine a scenario in which a guy is with you and he says, oh, you're saying that you're going to go out with a group of guys, and he expresses to you, yeah, I get it. Those have been your friends since high school and you've been cool with them, but I'm a little bit uncomfortable with the idea of you going out with a group of guys, just you, and you're as the only girl. It makes me feel a little bit uneasy and I don't like the feeling that it gives me. Your response is, oh, you're insecure because you should know that nothing's gonna happen because I don't want those guys and I don't like those guys and I'm not attracted to those guys. So I should be able to go wherever I want, whenever I want, for however long I want, and come back when I want. And if you feel uncomfortable with the idea that I'm hanging around these guys, it's only because you're an insecure man. Because if you were a more secure man, you wouldn't have any problem with me hanging out with 30 different guys at once. This is not good. What this communicates to the man is that you don't respect him in terms of his needs. And when he expresses to you that I'm uncomfortable with something and your response is you're insecure, he starts to feel, like in our last point, emasculated in this relationship. And this is an example that won't just happen once, it'll happen over the course of time. Your man is not an authoritative figure in your life, but he should have a say in things that go on in the relationship. And if he expresses that something that you're doing, saying, or participating in makes you uncomfortable, that should be something that gets factored in to your lifestyle, to the things that you're doing. Because if you truly love that man, want the best for your relationship, and have respect for him, then you also respect that if he's communicating or expressing that he's uncomfortable with things, then maybe there's an adjustment to be made here. And the reason I'm saying this is because you might feel like when you get into a relationship, well, why should I be making any adjustments for you? And especially if those adjustments come at the expense of my fun or my enjoyment, you just need to deal with it. because you're an adult. Sounds good in a movie, but it's also a little bit unfair. And it's also gonna make a man feel very disrespected and emasculated in the relationship. I'll be honest with you. Men do very strange and weird things when they feel emasculated and disrespected. Don't underestimate how important respect is. Now, does that mean that you have to do everything for that man and jump and as high as he says for you to jump and only be focused on what he needs and never be focused on what you need? Absolutely not. There's always a balance in life, but there's a way to respect someone's wishes or respect when someone feels uncomfortable in a way that's balanced, but also understanding that I'm not going to compromise everything about my life just to appease you. There's a balance there. And there's even a way to tell someone, hey, I understand how you feel, but I'm still going to do A, B, and C in a way where you still show that you have respect for that man. Even in the way you might turn something he says down or not necessarily do exactly what he wants, you can still express the fact that you respect what he has to say, the way he's expressing himself, respect his opinion and perspective. There's a combination where you can kind of meet in the middle there. It doesn't have to be one thing or the other. Point number 6 is about Muse. If you had to tell me what you think majority of man music consists of, give me some of the things that a lot of men and concepts and ideas that a lot of men will discuss in their music. The reason I ask that is because I'm sure if you listen to enough music by men, you'll notice this very interesting theme. A lot of men spend a lot of time making a lot of music about women in some way, shape, or form, whether it be directly talking about their lust for a woman, about how they're falling for a woman, about how they've already, secretly sneaking behind someone's back to be with the woman, how they are trying to go from best friends to actually being boyfriend and girlfriend with a woman. It's usually a lot of times about women. Why? Because men find a lot of inspiration in women in their life. It's called being a muse. Because you, in your feminine element, you're like the apple of a man's eye. You inspire him to think different things, to see life in color. You just make a man feel very different, things that are very impossible to feel without your presence. Let's say the 20% is like trucks, cars, money, all the other stuff that you hear in music, depending on what type of genre of music you listen. In terms of the muse, and the inspiration, what I want you to understand is that for men, when you are taking care of you and just doing you and just investing in you, you actually make it very easy for men to be inspired by you. Now, what is the inspiration leading to? When you're deep in your feminine, taking care of you, because part of being in your feminine is taking care of yourself, and you're doing things for you, taking care of your looks, taking care of your health, taking care of your spirit, all of that radiates through you. And then men, for whatever reason, they become inspired by that to say, they take that as motivation. And then they say, I'm going to go out on the hunt, or I'm going to go out and I'm going to kill it. I'm going to do my best in whatever field that I'm in. And I'm going to take that success and I'm going to bring it back and I'm going to show my woman that I did that thing for the both of us. It's just a natural occurrence and a dynamic that happens when things are flowing as they should be flowing. If you are investing in yourself the right way, you will be subsequently an inspiration to the men that you are romantic with. And I actually want that to be the case. I want men to see firsthand how you pour into yourself, because that will inspire them to say, oh, wow, the way she pours into herself, the way that she's in and existing in her feminine inspires me to be a better man, to be a more manly man, to take better care of her, to do as much as I possibly can to be there for her and to serve her as her man. The opposite effect is also true. You become less like a muse when you stop taking care of yourself, stop investing in yourself. And I'm not just talking about taking care of yourself by going to the gym. I'm talking about taking care of your spirit as well. Stop investing in yourself and you become this version of you that literally has let yourself completely go. You have nothing for yourself. You don't do anything for yourself. All of your energy is focused on other people and other things. That's very unattractive to men, and they tend to not try to be their best for those women. I want you to understand the importance of that, because I want you to figure out how, when you get into a relationship, how do you embody a muse? How do you inspire a man, not by investing in him, but actually by investing in yourself? Sometimes you just being you just makes things work. I don't make the rules, but whoever designed us that way that we're able to just work with each other when we're in our elements. It just works very good. Point number 7 is about Superman. You might not realize this, but it's very apparent to men. Remember how I talked about your belief in their abilities? Because everyone feels insecure, no matter who you are, no matter how much success you've seen, we all feel insecure at times. But the encouragement to feel like, hey, you still have lots of ability, you've accomplished a lot, especially coming from you as a woman, makes men feel like Superman. And you might not realize how much you can change a man's own view of himself by encouraging him and reminding him of how capable he is. You are so powerful in that, like so powerful. And you're actually powerful in both senses, because you're powerful enough to make him feel like Superman, like he can do anything, like he can run through a wall. But you're also powerful enough to make him feel like garbage. Make him feel like he's incapable of anything or doing anything right. Why am I telling you this? And why am I telling you that men desire this so much? Because I want you to be considering, if you're in a romantic relationship with a man and you actually want to give him things that he needs but won't necessarily ask for, I want you to look for the places in his life where he has a lot of insecurity, whether it be his job, his career, his ability to get things done, his ability to do this project right, his ability to present himself in the best way to do whatever it is he's trying to accomplish. And I want you to focus on encouraging him in those places. And it can be simply scratching his back one night and telling him, no, I know you can do this. Remember when you blanked this time and you were able to get through it and you were able to accomplish it and you never thought you'd be able to do it? You're smart. You're capable, you're strong, you're intelligent, you can do the same thing here. That type of encouragement is so amazing for men to feel. And they will never express to you how much it impacts them because they don't want to make it seem like they're big softies. But that encouragement coming from their woman will make them feel like they can literally do anything. And I don't want you to underestimate your power in that, in being able to give that to your man. I just said your man. It's not that you're going to start encouraging men who aren't even committing themselves to you. That's not what we're doing. I'm talking about in your romantic relationship, the things that a man will really crave even more than sex, because these are the type of things, I'll be honest with you, if you can give a man these things that I mentioned in these 7 points, sex will be out of this world because his mind will be in the right place. His masculine energy will be in the right place. And then the sex falls in line as it should when his mind is in the right place. A lot of times, ironically, sex gets thrown out of whack when men are not in the right place mentally, whether it be not in their masculine energy or the dynamic of your relationship isn't where it should be. And for one reason or another, it ends up showing itself in your sex life a lot of the time. So just keep that in mind.